Chapter 9. The world became bigger. When time became slower, there is a strange gift that only later years can give. The gift of seeing reality with new eyes. When life finally slows down, the mind begins to work differently. You start noticing things you never had time to notice, thinking thoughts you never had time to think, and understanding truths that were once too deep for a younger heart. When the fast pace of work faded and the noise finally quieted, something unexpected began to happen. The world grew bigger inside me, not through travel, not through accomplishments, but through reflection. For the first time in my life, I had the freedom to think slowly, to let ideas settle, to revisit memories, to examine past decisions with gentleness instead of regret. And as the minutes stopped chasing me, a deeper clarity began to rise. I realized that all my life, I had been rushing from one responsibility to another, solving one problem after the next, jumping from project to project. There was no space to step back and ask the simple but profound question, what does all of this mean? It was only in the quiet of later years that meaning began to appear. I began to see patterns, not the same patterns formed by events, but patterns formed inside the heart. Patterns of how I responded to pressure, patterns of how I handled success, patterns of what I feared, what I avoided, what I endured, patterns of how God had been shaping me slowly, patiently, across decades. The world also looked different. I began to see people less through their positions and more through their struggles, less through their achievements and more through their effort, less through their mistakes and more through the wounds they carried quietly. Age has a way of softening the eyes. It makes you kinder, less judgmental, more understanding, more grateful. There were days when I would simply sit in silence and review the long road behind me. Strangely, the memories that once felt heavy became lighter. The moments that once confused me started to make sense. Even the painful chapters, the losses, the delays, the disappointments, began to reveal their hidden gifts. I realized that wisdom does not come from the passing of years. It comes from the honesty with which you revisit those years. And the more I look back, the more I saw something I never noticed when I was younger. The world is not understood by speed but by stillness. When you are rushing, everything looks like a blur. When you finally slow down, the meaning appears. In this slower season of my life, I also discovered a deeper truth. Knowledge is not simply information, it is illumination. History, faith, human nature. These were not just subjects I explored. They became lenses through which life became clearer. Concepts I once took for granted now carried weight. Ideas I once ignored now revealed their importance. And slowly, almost quietly, understanding matured into wisdom. This chapter of my life was not about learning new skills or discovering new hobbies. It was about learning to see, truly see, how life fits together. Only when life slowed down did the world reveal its deeper layers. Only when silence arrived did truth begin to speak. And it was in these unhurried days that I sensed something stirring in my heart. A quiet invitation to take everything I had lived, everything I had learned, everything I had survived, and use it for a purpose I had not yet fully understood. That purpose would take shape in the next chapter. The chapter where writing stopped being an activity and became a mission.